Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Brian E. Roach.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Brian E. Roach, the host who doesn't like toast, and this edition of the podcast is brought to you in part by a new sponsor, the Legends of Pittsburgh Cruise. The Legends of Pittsburgh Cruise is an opportunity for you as a fan to interact with over 20 Pittsburgh legends as you sail the Caribbean. And to help us talk about that, as well as just share some other memories of being on the Steelers, we have a former player, Super Bowl champion, and all-around great guy, Antwaan Randle L. is joining us today. Antwaan, welcome aboard the Steel City Underground podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure to talk to players, former players, and get their views on different things. It's been a while since you were in the league. Tell everybody what you're doing now and what's going on with you.
Yeah, been away from the game a little bit in terms of playing it, but since I've been done done some commentating with the Big Ten Network. Right now, I helped start a school 6 years ago, and we are working on our third graduating class this year. A private Christian high school that's in Ashburn, Virginia. So I got that going on. Obviously, I got my wonderful family, got a wife and 7 children. So
wow,
loving them up and going to everything that they have going on in terms of kids. When they get out of school, it's like a taxi service for me, for the most part. Getting them to different activities and things of that nature. And then obviously we have Leadership League. Leadership League, we do a good number of things, but one of the biggest things that we do, obviously, we do the cruises that set sail in the off season when it comes to marketing the different teams, different players on the teams, the legends that are from these different teams, taking them out on the cruise, inviting the fans to come out, and we feel like it's the best fan experience there is to have right now when it comes to the game outside of the game of football.
Let's talk about that cruise a little bit. You're one of them is the Legends of Pittsburgh cruise, right? And
yeah,
and so I know you're going to be involved in that for the 2019 cruise. Is this your first cruise with that you've gone on, or have you been involved in some of the earlier ones?
I've been involved with all the cruises that we've had for the Steelers. I want to say, so this has got to be 5, I think. This is 5 or 6 for Pittsburgh.
Wow.
So I've been involved for a while. I want to say this is 5 or 6 for Pittsburgh. So I've been involved. It's been great. The fans are great, obviously, with coming out. And then the biggest thing is about the legends, really bringing the players back together. You got some of the older players, mixing them with some of the younger players. And then obviously, when it comes to that, being able to raise proceeds and a portion of those proceeds that we raise, they go to the players, their causes, their charities, if you will.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that. It's one of those things I've wanted to do. I believe I saw it the first year it came out, and I've followed it every year, and it just never fits in my time frame with work because the cruise usually launches, isn't it like in March?
Yeah, it's usually in March. Like this year, I think this year is March 4th through the 8th, obviously of 2019, and it's. No, we try to do it. We try to do it right after the season, or about a month after the season, just in case we had a Steelers or whatever team we're taking on the cruise that they may be involved with playoffs, and obviously when it comes to playing in the Super Bowl. So we do it February or March, when the season ends.
Yeah, and the way my work schedule is, my annual year runs from April to April, and so I'm always out of vacation days. So it never works out. I got to figure out how to save some vacation days so I can come down and hang out on this cruise.
You got to find some vacation days, and I get you some toast ready. See if you like the toast that I make.
Well, I will try your toast if I get to the cruise. Absolutely.
All right.
So it's an interactive kind of an event, right? And there's all kinds of different things that people do, but it's kind of close up with the players, right? They get a chance to really interact with you guys.
Yes, it's been a close up. I mean, obviously, breakfast time, dining times, you have time to sit down and just really hang out with the players. This is we've gotten to the point we've been able to fine tune it where there is an autograph session that you have. People can purchase the autograph session and come out and be able to get autographs. But throughout the cruise, you're not allowed to ask for autographs, and that's been a big deal for us because as we went year after year, that's one thing players, you have Steeler fans who really love their fans. I love their players from that perspective, and they want to get an autograph. So we had to limit it to having one day. We're having these autograph sessions, and then that frees up the player, so you don't have fans running up to them getting an autograph, which we understand is going to happen, but we try to make sure they don't do that except for that designated time. We have a beach party, which every year is a hit. We had a year when it rained, and the beach was a little soggy, and we still made it work. It's just about coming together in terms of doing different things. So the interaction is definitely there. The players are on the cruise, on the ship throughout the cruise. We have gotten away from, I think the first year we had somebody come on and then leave once they got to the Bahamas or something like that. But we got away from that because we know we want the fans to enjoy the players, and obviously when the players are being enjoy themselves. So the interaction is definitely there. We always have different, we have other activities as well. We have the beach party. We talked about the autograph session. We have other activities where you can actually have a sit down, dress up dinner. You get dressed up in your finest. I get dressed up in my finest, and you come have dinner with me. You go have dinner with Donnie, Willie Parker, JuJu Smith. You can come on and hang out with those guys and have those type of opportunities. So the interaction is there. And again, we try to continue to come up with different ways to allow the fan to be engaged with the player.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's this year, if this is on this cruise or not. I'm pretty sure maybe last year there was a workout with James Harrison.
Yeah, James did a workout once before. Antonio Brown did a workout once before. I went scuba diving. Me and Antonio Holmes went scuba diving one time. That was the first time I did that. Oh boy. But it was fun, and the fans get to see the players on this real level and realize we are people just like everybody else. Put on our pants just about the same way as everybody else. So it's really an enjoyable time. And again, that's the way. Like I said, we're always trying to improve it in terms of coming with different ways to be able to have this player fan engagement activity going on.
Yeah, I'm definitely sorry I missed because I'm a scuba instructor or a former scuba instructor, so it would have been that would have been a lot of fun for me.
That would have been great. You could have gave me some pointers on how to stay away from the coral reef.
That's right. Got to keep your buoyancy equal. So you've done this, as you said, for several years. There's all these different events. Are there any memories that really stand out to you as real special memories?
I think, well, for me, it's special. I mean, I can go on and on. Casey, doing the first year we did the belly flop competition. That was unbelievable. Casey is stretched out. I mean, as far as he can put his hands out and does a belly flop, the water flashes everywhere. The fans go crazy. I mean, it was awesome. So you have moments like that. I have personal moments, even with my family going on the cruise. And then you have the other personal moments when it comes to the chapel or memorable moments, I would say, when it comes to chapel service. We have chapel service every morning that is optional. We don't throw it on anybody. People come to chapel service, and we have people who get healed at our chapel service. They get prayed for and things of that nature. And then at the end, we have a baptism, like the fourth day of the cruise.
Nice.
Or the last day, whatever the last day of the cruise is. So when we do these different things, it's like, for us, those are the memories, no question, because you got people who are coming on the cruise one way and are leaving changed people, really in their lives. And And I feel like that's what we're all about when it comes to Leadership League. We're trying to touch people's lives and make a difference in their lives, and we're trying a really unique way to do it, and it's been great. And like I said, we obviously want to continue because the fans love it, we love it, and it really touched our heart in terms of our passion for living and giving back to people.
So we here at Steel City Underground have also partnered up with the Legends of Pittsburgh Cruise. The thing is, it's going to be like 20 different folks, 20 different legends from Steelers history, plus 1,000 fans. They're all going to sail the Caribbean. This is the 5th year, and it'll go out on March 4th of 2019. You've got folks like JuJu Smith-Schuster, Rocky Bleier, Willie Parker, Donnie, Santonio, Holmes, Andy Russell, of course, Antwaan, Randle, and many others are going to set sail on this once-in-a-lifetime interactive vacation experience, and it's for fans of all ages. The Legends of Pittsburgh Cruise offers fans the opportunity to spend 4 nights aboard a luxurious cruise ship with Pittsburgh legends, Pittsburgh area entertainment legends, and hundreds of fellow fans from across the globe. The cruise is going to depart from Miami, Florida on March 4th of 2019. It's going to sail to Nassau, Bahamas, and Coco Cay before it returns to Miami on March 8th. So if you're sailing on the Legends of Pittsburgh Cruise, you're going to enjoy 4 days of interaction with your favorite current and alumni players. You're going to enjoy free access to the legends themselves and dozens of themed events. The 2019 cruise will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of Super Bowl 43 and the 40th anniversary of Super Bowl 13, as legends from those championship games share their never-before-told stories of those legendary seasons. The players on board will be found taking selfies, striking up conversations, or just hanging out at one of the lounges or pools with their fans. There will be exciting activities for guests of all ages, both at sea and on shore, and kids are going to enjoy interactive games and competitions with their favorite sports heroes. On the top of all that, there's going to be a variety of different events, entertainment things, and all kinds of stuff you can do. For more details on what you need to do or what you can find out, go to www.legendsofpittsburghcruise.com, or you can call them at 877-381-5553. Remember to use the Steel City Underground SCU19 when you're calling for any special offers that may be available. So if you want more information, you can visit steelcityunderground.com/legendscruise or go directly to the legendsofpittsburghcruise.com website. So that all sounds really great. I think it's fantastic. One of the things I always like to do when I'm talking to one of the former players, especially a player who was in Pittsburgh and left and then came back, you had the opportunity to play for, the Steelers during a resurgent era, for them. Ben came in, you had Jerome Bettis was still there, and you were a big part of a Super Bowl victory. What was that experience like for you?
That experience was great. For me, growing up in Chicago, and especially when it comes to Jerome played at Notre Dame, and that's what we got on our TV screen every week.
Yeah.
So it was great being able to get drafted by the Steelers and being able to play for the organization, the greatest organization, and then obviously being able to play with Jerome Bettis, a guy who I watched, play college ball and everything. So that was great. And then us coming together and winning the Super Bowl together, and everybody putting, all their the egos, if you will, to the side and really getting after it. Ben's first year, being 15-1 in the regular season, obviously we ended up losing in the playoffs, and then coming back the next year and getting right back at it, and actually going and winning everything. That for me, that's just a team that's just motivated to go out and get it done. So my time in Pittsburgh obviously was great. It's extremely great. And to leave to go to Washington, come back and participate with Coach Tomlin and go to another Super Bowl, those times are great. Those memories are great. These are things that you don't get back. You enjoy them while you're in it, while you're part of it, and you just take those memories along with you. I mean, I can tell you memory after memory during that season, of that particular season, that led up to that Super Bowl, and not just the play on the field, the locker room, the chapel services, and so on and so forth. So it certainly was a great time.
plumb your memory about a couple of specific things during that season. One, you guys are maybe headed in the wrong direction at one point during that season. And things don't look like they're going to turn around. And then, you play the Bears.
Yep.
and all of a sudden, things come in. Is that kind of, was it, we all as fans look at that one moment, of course, Bettis running over Urlacher, scoring that touchdown.
Yep. In the snow.
Yeah. And we think of that, okay, that's the moment that turned the season around for them. I don't know if that's really true, but, is it possible that those kind of things actually carry beyond a single game and start to move a team forward?
Oh, no question. So we were. You said we were going in the wrong direction. Well, at one point we were headed in the right direction. We were 7-2, and then lost 3 straight games. And then it was a question. Well, shucks, we got to win out to get into the playoffs. Because at that time, I believe Kansas City was running and doing extremely well. And I think they ended up with 10 wins. We ended up getting the 11th win. That kind of put us over the top. So we were 7-2. Lost the next 3 games, and then we came together as a team, had a player meeting and those type of things, and just realized we have it. Let's catch our breath, let's get after it, and that's what we did. And that Chicago game, playing at home, we pounded them pretty good. Had some good catches in that game that give us a couple first downs. But Jerome Bettis was the one that was just running all over them, and obviously, like you said, ran right over Urlacher. So that was a game that got us off of the schneid, so to speak, in terms of the losing streak we had. And then from there, obviously, we had to win out the regular season and get in the playoffs, end up being the 6th seed. And obviously, you got to win out in the playoffs to be able to get the victory in the Super Bowl. And we were able to do that. So that was one of the games that turned the tide for us. And we just again, we went on a rampage from there in terms of just really going after people and winning.
Yeah, so that was the upside of a Jerome moment. I'm going to get a downside of a Jerome moment next.
Yeah, I know where you're going. I'm ready. I'm listening.
All right. So, you got to go on the road in the playoffs, and it looks like things are going great. You guys are doing really well. Looks like we're about to score another touchdown in the Indianapolis game, and something that never happens. And the ball pops out. What's that?
Yeah.
Like? What emotions are going through everybody's head at that moment when you're like, whoa?
Yeah, whoa! Somebody get him! Did that just happen? Oh my goodness! And then Ben obviously makes the tackle, which was great. But it was weird. It was like, this is it. We could, seal the deal is what we're thinking. Let's just get Jerome his ball. We're gonna seal this deal. It's going to be over with.
Yep.
Our defense has been playing light out that game. Getting after Peyton Manning, you talk about tricking Peyton Manning and put some different thoughts in his head, which is you don't do often. And we did that and really scattered them from a perspective of slowing down that offense, who was at that point high-powered and scoring all over the place. And so our defense really did that job. And when offense, got a chance, we scored and put points on the board. And when we had that fumble happen, it was just like, oh no, this is not going to happen. And it happened. And then your eyes are big. You're holding your breath. Make the tackle. And we were just really happy that Ben made the tackle because we are okay. Defense come out and do that thing from that perspective. So that was a moment. And for Jerome, you got to feel like, oh my goodness, for him. If we don't get this rectified, but as they're going out on the field, you got defensive players. You got Julie Porter, you got Ferry. They tapping Jerome. Hey man, don't worry about it. We got it. Shake it off. Let's go. And that was the perspective on everything that we did. That was the attitude. Hey, we're gonna pick one another up. We're gonna go out and get it done. Don't worry about it. And that that obviously carried us through the playoffs as well. With really throughout the regular season, that mind frame of hey, I got to pick my brother up. When it comes to them being down like that. So that was a low moment for Jerome going towards the end of his career.
Yeah, and of course it caps off great. And so you're in the Super Bowl, and you guys are driving, and the play call comes in that says, I guess it's a flea flicker. I don't know what was a fake reverse, and you're going to throw.
Yeah. Clean right slot. I think it was clean right slot, take 37, reverse pass right. I think that's what it was. I know I could be missing one segment of that call. It's been so long. But it was something of that nature. Yeah, that call comes in. I light up like a light bulb. Hines just kind of tapped me, on my leg, like, let's go. And now you get the line of scrimmage. Now it's just all about not false starting. Just do not false start. Because you get that moment, that opportunity at the spot, which was a little closer in than we would have liked to run it. So you can't false start. You can't have anything go wrong with that. Willie Parker, who had been running the ball great that game, had the longest run in Super Bowl history earlier in the game. Yep. So it was prime because now the safeties, they got to come down and honor that run. And as soon as we pitched it to them, you saw the safety come down. The reverse came to me. The safety came down on my way and left Hines running scot-free. And as I'm coming around, I'm saying, just don't overthrow it, Twan. And I threw it just enough to straighten him up. Didn't carry him too far in the end zone or towards the sideline, either to catch it clean and get in the end zone and score. And the rest is history. Certainly a childhood dream for me, growing up a quarterback and obviously wanted to throw touchdowns in the Super Bowl. So certainly a blessing to be able to do it as a wide receiver.
Absolutely. And a great moment, just in Super Bowl history. So, once that's over, you get through the season, things change a little bit. There starts to be transition, as there is, with this league anymore. You go to Washington.
Yep.
And because I guess we as Steelers fans and Steelers Nation, of course we think we're special.
No question.
And we have this image of how, playing for the Steelers is just different than everybody else. And some players see it that way and some players don't. But you got the opportunity to go to Washington, play for several years there before coming back.
Yep.
What is that? What is your view as a player of, being in one culture and moving to another?
Well, it's so being in one culture, moving to another, I think it obviously depends on the team that you're leaving. But with me leaving the Steelers, it wasn't something I wanted to do. It was just a big decision for me and my family to be able to do that. I sat down with Coach Cowher, I talked to the Rooneys, and it was really not time for me to go. But I had done so much through my 4 years of my career, and even that year with having, I think, 2 or 3 punt returns for touchdowns, had the most catches I had in yards receiving I had in my career, and obviously the big play in the Super Bowl. And the number in terms of free agency, they knew it was tough. It would be tough for them to match, and it wasn't close from that perspective as well. So they wasn't pushing me out the door, but they also were saying that we understand, we get it. So the decision was made to go to the market and test free agency. And I could tell you, it wasn't right away because the CBA was still going on and right. Trying to get the new CBA. And I wouldn't even have the opportunity had the new CBA hadn't got done because I would have become I still would have been restricted for another year under the old, because it went back to the old rule. So right. With all that being said, when it did get completed, it opened up the table for several teams. Chicago Bears, where I grew up and played. Washington obviously was on the table, and I ended up going to Washington. Chicago were close, and I was going to go there. But it was the best decision for my wife and I at the time, with 3 kids, going to Washington. So you talk about the different cultures. So after being there for a while, I began to see the difference in the culture, and a lot of it has to do with this family organization with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who has been going on for years and has been passed down generation to generation. You come to you come over to the Washington Redskins, and the difference there is you have a guy, and Dan Snyder, really good guy, means well, definitely wants to do well for the team. There's a lot in the community, but a billionaire at 36 years old, really a business-minded man, and I think for me that was the difference I was able to see. wants to win. He would bring in anybody he wanted to try to win and try to get to the playoffs and have an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. But it was just different in terms of the way things went about. And I think those differences has a lot to do with years and years of a family doing it together, seeing how it works, making the changes, going through the process to understand this is our standard. This is going to be our standard. We're not going to let anybody change our standard, our Steeler way. And on the other end, again, a guy, Dan Snyder, who had come owning the team at such a young age, just him, and trying to run and run a team and figure out the different ways of how to get there. And I think he's slowly starting to get there. I think even more so now, obviously, than when I was there. Mm-hmm. But I would think those are the two different. Those are really the differences. That family culture being passed down, or that organization being passed down through the family, and really one guy in Dan Snyder having that. And we'll see how the Redskins do for years to come. But I think that's just what it really is. The differences. I would look at it. And I had to get my eyes enlightened by London Fletcher. Hopefully, I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame here soon. Who played here at Washington? He kind of helped me to see that as well, because it was like, why? For me, I was like, man, why isn't it the same? What's going on? So it was different. It was definitely different, and it was certainly a joy to be able to come back and be welcomed back. Not just by the fans in Pittsburgh, but by the Rooney organization and Pittsburgh Steelers as a whole.
Now, absolutely. So, because you kind of left at the end of the Cowher era, you came back at the beginning of the Tomlin era, so to speak.
Yep.
And there's this myth that goes about, and I call it a myth. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it is. That Tomlin's early success was because he won with Cowher's players. Now, my view is, the same players that Tomlin won with went 8-8 the year before. So
there you go.
Cowher didn't win with those players. But I mean, do coaches look at guys like that? Like, these are my players, these are his players. I can't imagine that's true. Is there anything to that myth?
Well, I think it's a bit of. I think it can go both ways. It's a bit of a myth. But then sometimes a coach inherits a good team. I think when you look at the Steelers, Coach Tomlin being brought in, he's at a great organization. Period. The right guys are going to be brought in, and it's not that you're not on that scale, then you got to go. That's just part of it. So he's going to always have a good group of guys, regardless. So I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to Tomlin coming into that situation. So I wouldn't call it a myth. I know that he's a good coach. I know that without having him in that position, having a good coach in that position, the players, it doesn't matter what players you have, to be able to get them to play and play together, and not be their own self, so to speak, it's still tough. You still have to manage that. You still got to manage the game. You still got to manage your locker room, and it takes some managing to do. And in that, he's done a great job in doing that. You see different changes that have been made, and he comes out and he's a very he's a loud guy in terms of expressing what he feels, and in the way that he expresses it, and he means it, and he gets it done from that perspective. So I don't. In his case, I don't think it's the myth doesn't apply, so to speak. I would look at Tony Dungy leaving Tampa Bay and Gruden coming in. I can see that one.
Yeah, especially considering what's going on with the Raiders this year.
Exactly. I'm just throwing that out there now. but we'll see in the coming years with the Raiders as well. But I kind of see that one more than I see Tomlin. Tomlin definitely not the myth doesn't apply to him. He inherited an opportunity at an organization to be a coach at a great organization. Now I can also say you can't plug and play anybody at the Steelers. Obviously, they won't do that anyhow. But he's a guy that you want to play for that guy, and that's what you want. You want a coach that's going to lead your team, and the players are going to respond to that coach to want to go out and get it done and play and come together, put your egos aside, and that happens with the coach really really being involved and making sure that happens and being able to manage that. So he's done a great job in terms of doing that the years he's been there, and I'm certain to be years to come.
Yep. So let's look at the Steelers. I mean, they're just coming off of a huge victory.
They pounded them.
Oh boy, did they ever! It was as we were saying the other day. It's the first time that we've been able to feel like we could just relax at the end of the game and go, yeah, I don't have to worry. It was the most points they've ever scored at Heinz Field, 52 points to 21 for the Panthers, and what has happened over the past few years. The media likes to play up the fact that there seems to be all this drama around the Steelers, and I want to get your take on the I guess the primary drama, which is Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
My personal viewpoint is there's no winners or losers or bad guys or good guys in this scenario. Bell's doing what he thinks he needs to do. I may or may not agree with it, but that's what he thinks he needs to do. And the Steelers, in my view, provided an offer that was, at the time, more than fair. It wasn't what he wanted, so he didn't take it, which is fine. That's his right. But, how do you view how this has ended up? Because it's really unique in the way it's ended up playing out this season. I can't recall a scenario quite like this.
Yeah, it is. It's very it is a unique situation, and the Steelers are not, what do they call it, exempt from this happening to them, just like it happened to any other organization. You got a guy who feels like he's worth X number, and the organization feel like this number X is enough that we're offering. So for my perspective, there's a lot of ways to look at it. And I try to stay away from it, but it's addressed all the time. Obviously, you play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you play with it's just all the things come to play. You know the organization, so everybody's always asking the question. So I'm like you. Nobody wins in a situation like this. The Steelers, people would say, okay, well, the Steelers are winning because Le'Veon's not there and they're doing well. Well, on the other hand, people say, well, Le'Veon's winning because he's not playing. He's not out there. He's not playing. He's not getting his body hurt. Blah blah blah. And he's still going to, receive some money, whatever, for the regular season when he comes back, if he signs a tender and whatever, which I believe he will. So free agent, so he can still be a free agent or whatever at the end. And so at the end of the day, like you said, nobody's winning. A couple of things you got to look at. The game has changed so much in terms of free agency, in terms of opportunity, and the numbers in terms of being able to receive a certain amount of money is coming to play more so than ever. I think his number was lower than what I think the running back Gurley got out at LA for the LA Rams. I think that's what the number maybe he was going for in terms of a signing bonus, because he feels like he's the best back and does some of the similar things that Gurley does. You back out of the backfield, catching the ball, being able to make people miss. And I think the only knock with that would be on Le'Veon, is that Le'Veon has not had a run or a catch and run, if you will, that has went, the distance 70-plus yards and wasn't getting caught or anything like that after making somebody miss, getting up the field and getting going. I think that's the knock he's had against him. But still, great player, gets it done. So I think that could be the difference. I mean, who knows as to why the Steelers aren't giving him his number, and who knows as to why he's really, he's sitting out. Yeah, he wants to get that number, but it seems like the numbers were close enough. But again, it's to each its own. It is nobody's winning in this perspective. It's always a tough situation. But I can tell you this. I always ask people, like, have you ever heard of Wally Pipp?
Yep.
People say, no, you don't, because Mickey Mantle came in when he got hurt. And that was it. So similar situation. But, yeah, Le'Veon Bell already has a name in that perspective. But you have a guy like James Conner who comes in, and he's really filling that void in a lot of ways. So it's operation as usual, or as normal for the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of moving on. And we'll see how it plays out. But it's always a tough situation. And as a player, and a player who would be on my team, and he's sitting out, not wanting his money. I mean, wanting his money, and he feel like he's not getting it. it's a tough situation. Hines had a little bit of that going on when he went to free agent and went to like 4 Pro Bowls in a row. He wanted a certain number, but they were able to agree and come to a certain number, and it just not working in this situation. So you can't fault. I hate to fault the player because of this day and age, but at the same time, I would want my best guys to be in the locker room, being able to play as a player. That's selfish for me. But you look at the guy from Seattle, the safety, we know he would make so many dollars, so much money in terms of going into free agency if the year was different and free agency was ending. But obviously he had 1 more year in his contract, and Seattle wouldn't give him a new deal, and he does decide to come back and play, and he breaks his leg, and now he's out. So nobody knows the next step for him after that. So you got to look at all these different situations. So because when you get an opportunity as a player to take advantage of that free agency, you want to take advantage of it. So it's tricky. It is tricky, man. And I'm toast as I'm going to want to call you because you don't like toast. but it's a very, very tricky situation. And like you said in the beginning, nobody's winning. Nobody wins in that situation.
All right, I just got a couple more questions for you before we let you go.
Sounds good.
How does it look to you? After that performance, is that a statement game for the Steelers?
Well, if you want to have a statement game, it's certainly a statement game. You got to call that one a statement game because just the way they came out from beginning to end, and to be able to go play against a team that I think Carolina had won their last 4 or 5 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been on a roll as well. And to do it on a short week, that's the other thing, to get after a team in the way that they did on a short week. So I would say definitely a statement game, definitely a statement to say, hey, we are here and we're Stephen, don't forget about us. Yeah, we lead the division, but not just to our division, but hey, to the rest of the NFL on Thursday Night Football, the Pittsburgh Steelers are here.
Absolutely. So this is a question. I call it the Joe Kuzma question. And Joe Kuzma is our illustrious leader here at SCU, and it's a question he always wants to ask everybody that comes on the show, and that is essentially, what is something that nobody else knows, or that the general Steelers Nation doesn't know about you that you feel you can share?
Oh boy, I don't know. I don't know that there's nothing about me that I could share that people don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry, Joe. It won't work. You got to tell Joe. You got to tell Joe. I don't know. I don't know that I can think of anything.
It's all good.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I love animals. But I don't have one in the house yet. I love animals, but I don't have one in the house yet. I got 7 kids, and it's like adding anything else, I feel like I'm busting at the seams.
Oh yeah, so, with 7 kids, you got. I have a daughter, just one, and a dog, and they both give me the same amount of joy and aggravation. So, it won't change much if you add one, other than you'll get the same stuff.
Yeah, me and my wife, we're always looking at finances and all that, and that you get a puppy. I mean, it's just like a kid. You got to feed it. You got to get his haircut, get his teeth checked out, get his paws clipped. It's like, oh my goodness. So after we did all the costs, he's like, let's just wait. So we'll see. The kids are steady asking. If we do it, it'll be a Christmas gift or something. But that's a tough deal. I don't know about another something to take care of.
That's it. Yeah, I understand. All right, this is mine. This is my question that I ask everybody because I'm obsessed with this topic, which is nicknames. Did you have a nickname? Yeah. So it's for a long time it was it's always L. Yeah. My last name is Randle L, so they would just call me L. When I was growing up, I had a nickname. My uncle named me Bam Bam. Bam Bam.
When I was growing up, yeah, because I had my bottle, and he said I was just banging on the table. I broke the glass bottle one time, banging it. And it was from that point on, I had Bam Bam for a long time.
All right. That's awesome.
When I went to play for the Redskins, he called me Uncle Elroy. They called me that because Santonio Moss gave me that name. He said Uncle Elroy. He said man, you just an old soul, man. He said you like the governing body, like our uncle to us, man. I was like, what do you mean? We all the same age. He said, yeah, man, it just feels different. So those are the names I've been given.
Well, then I know that when I get on that cruise finally and I get to the autograph session, when you see a guy come up and say, "Can you inscribe this Bam Bam?" You'll know who it is.
That'll be cool. For sure.
Antwaan, I want to thank you for taking the time. It was absolutely a pleasure. I think you gave a lot of information out there. Is there anything you'd like to close with? Tell people how they can follow you, support you, do whatever you would like them to do.
Oh, yes, always. Obviously, I would love everybody to, when it comes to the Steelers fans, come out and check out our cruise. This year it's March 4th to March 8th, 2019. I think we board in Miami, go to Nassau, Coco Cay. It's going to be a great time. I think people will love the experience. Also, me personally, I have a foundation called the L Foundation that supports underserved youth. I've been doing it basically really my second or third year in the league. So we do things in Pittsburgh. We do things in Chicago where I grew up. Obviously, we do things out here in Washington where I am. And it's really about helping the youth, giving an opportunity, a different opportunity that they would not otherwise have, even from an education standpoint. So I would ask people to help. They can go to AntwaanRandle.com and see the site and see what we do to help those children out. And if people want to go on a cruise, legendsofpittsburghcruise.com to go check it out. And I want everybody to come check it out and come see me and different ones. Nate Washington, Willie Parker, Casey Hampton, all different people going to be on this cruise who make the cruise special. And it can't be special without the fans. So we welcome them to come out and enjoy their time and enjoy this fan engagement that we've put together. Absolutely.
Again, thanks again, everybody. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. As I like to say, remember, it's chaos out there, so be kind. And we will talk to you next time. Yep.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.